So I would like to talk about different types of government. What Cascadia is an autocracy influenced noocracy, basically. So I'll talk briefly. You could have an extraterrestrial government, okay, and it's called an Etocracy. I'm coining it right now. There is a consensual Etocracy, which means it's a benevolent extraterrestrial government where we consent to adopt their government, you see. And then there is a non-consensual Etocracy, so that would be an extraterrestrial government that we did not consent to have. So, and essentially an extraterrestrial government takeover is what a non-consensual Etocracy would be. So we're neither consenting nor getting taken over. We're influenced by extraterrestrials, so we have to say that we're influenced by the Etocracy. So what I mean by that is there's only two messages I really have here for Earth. There is do not punish. So that's a big message, and then of course the others about our nuclear proliferation warnings. So the Noocracy. My book was Cascadia Beyond the Bioregion, the Noocracy. We're talking about rule by intelligence. So a Noocracy is influenced by a variety of governments historically. So we're influenced by aristocracy that Plato talked about in his Republic, the Timocracy, etc. But in our Noocracy, we have basic rights as a foundation. So we are influenced by the Declaration of Independence from America and Jefferson. Basic rights, we have an unalienable right to life, and that's what a lot of governments have failed to understand, is that we uphold basic rights for everybody. That means everyone has a right to life. You have a right to be born. You have a right to be free from execution, a government that performs executions. You have an unalienable right to life, as said in the Declaration of Independence. So that means law enforcement can no longer shoot you for any reason and kill you for any reason, because you're upholding basic rights, and you understand basic rights as the foundation of the Noocracy. So what the Noocracy is I am representing the entire highest minds of every expertise. So the entire scientific community wants to make me the most highest educated person alive, so that I can best represent the Noocracy, where intelligence and as influenced by Plato and Socrates and Pythagoras, we value intelligence and wisdom as the highest parts of government. So you do things based on scientific reason, and the council may veto an idea of the democracy if they make their argument based on logic and reason. So if they want to allow some product that contaminates the environment or something like that, well, the council can veto that that, and I mean, liberty is important. We only do things in a very limited fashion when it comes to law. We protect the environment. So to be on the council, you have to have a variety of skills to even be there, and then of course you have your specialty that you represent. So democratic votes, what the Noocracy is it's representative, and then you have the council, and then you have the democracy. So it's a trifecta, and it can now be influenced by a cyberocracy as one of those vectors. So its representative takes into consideration the opinion of the democracy, and those and then the Epitocracy is an influence. Cyberocracy is an influence. So that means that AI computer data is also taken into context. So the end goes to the representative, and it has to be someone who can never be corrupted by special interests. So that's another important thing for your Noocracy representative, that it has to be a special personality that cannot be allowed to wiggle room around upholding basic rights for the people, and there can't be any kind of special interest corruption that would accept bribery for a poor foreign policy, for example. So it's about survival, sustainability, situational awareness, and we have a government that rewards instead of a punishment society. The Epitocracy has no stability in presidents that is guaranteed, so you can have a variety of presidents that change over history, and that creates instability for your government. The president could be corrupted by bribes. There is no clear competency test. There is of course, the idea, though, is that in an epistocracy, we all have a higher skill or something like that in order to have our vote count. So rather than eliminating your votes because you aren't intelligent enough, the Noocracy actually does take into context the voice of the democracy. And testing, they may not regard current events, and that's another concern. They would have dated information, dated intelligence. They may not protect the poor and the sick. They may be intelligent, but they might not necessarily be ethical. They may not uphold the right to life. They may be wishy-washy about upholding the right to life. There may still be a culture of punishment accepted. So, for instance, even in the U.S. Constitution, putting people behind bars, basically in cages, is torture and cruelty under the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And, of course, that's one of the many reasons why we left the Union. So, there is cyberocracy, and you have your Jedi Council and the voice of the democracy. All these things play a part, and it's important that I have the latest data regarding whatever is important that day. It could be that we have to be ready for a natural disaster, and not every type of government is going to have a high demand for situational awareness. We have to also take into context etocracies and how they may be influencing our government, and we can't have any games played with cyberocracy getting too big and artificial intelligence taking over too much. We always have to keep the robots in check, so to speak. You can't have them get too big for the britches, and that's one thing you can't allow a multiplicity of drones take over the world. If we have to put our foot in the ground when it comes to defending Cascadia, jumping fast to respond if there's an immense drone manufacturer or something like that, we have to get on that with the World Army so that we can keep terrorist drone swarms in check and everything like that. So that's a lot of our big concern is keeping morality in a good base for Cascadia. We want to have a limited government where liberty still matters, but of course, if you kill somebody, you're not. They're not upholding basic rights. They're not upholding the right to life for that person. So we have to have a non-lethal way to capture these types of people that are going loose cannon in Cascadia. So it's far from anarchy, but it's also giving you maximum freedom and protecting the environment. We enforce protection of the environment, because if we destroy that, we have no Cascadia. And really, it's a whole new world. I've done something great. I think I ride on the shoulders of giants. Socrates, Plato, a lot of greats. I want to say that that this is the best thing we have to offer as humanity. Leadership matters, and I hope that we can have a very prosperous future here in the Northwest and the entire American continent. I think that doing things right here is really the key to our future as a planet. And this is Adam Brisbane signing off.